This video is not intended to encourage or glorify any kind of drug use. The sole purpose of these videos is to educate you on the dangers of what these substances can do to you. Please do not do any of the acts mentioned in this video. I repeat, do not do any of the acts mentioned in this video.
Welcome to the world of Tales from the Trip.
An honest account of what it's really like to love a heroin addict. As a nurse, I've had the honor of working with some of the most caring, empathetic, amazing nurses, and yet I still hear things that break my heart. Junkie, loser, scumbag, just OD and get it over with, asshole. Foul, horrible things that in no way reflect the person they are talking about, but instead reflect the way society sees an addict. Sure, there are addicts that are losers or assholes, but there are also doctors, teachers, athletes, and countless others who are losers and assholes. Being an addict makes you an addict. Being an asshole makes you an asshole. The two are in no way related. I've met my fair share of addicts who fall into the category of asshole, but in my career, I have met far more who are sweet and kind and funny, and I fell in love with one of them. I knew who and what Michael was from day one. He was funny, bright, silly, beautiful, and ridiculous at times, and he was the bravest risk I have ever taken, and one I have never regretted. Michael was sober when he moved in with me. He was excited about his sobriety and about being part of a family. In fact, he used the word family so frequently, it was like he was afraid it would one day disappear, and he had to use it as much as possible before it was gone. It was his favorite word. Michael and I had a deal. Nothing about his addiction could be a secret. It was probably the most honest part of our relationship. He hid nothing from me. Not the times he wanted to use but didn't, and not the times he wanted to use and did. There was not an aspect of his addiction he hid from me. He shared it all, things I won't share here, and here's what I know. Michael loved heroin. His exact words were, "I fucking love heroin." He loved the way it made him feel, or not feel. He loved the escape it afforded him. It was his way of coping with not only the horrors of Afghanistan that haunted him, it was his way of coping with a lot of other personal issues that were just too hard for him to face any other way. Michael loved heroin, but he hated what it cost him. He hated that he hurt the people he loved with his addiction. He hated not being a part of his son's life. He hated the disappointment he knew he caused. He hated that it made him a hypocrite, telling Sam that he would kill him if he ever found out he touched a drug, and then getting high behind a closed door. He hated himself for being weak, for needing heroin to face life. He hated the lies it made him tell, the sneaking and secrets he kept from everyone but me. He hated what I saw, the things I learned because of him. He was ashamed of his addiction. He loved the drug, but hated the man it made him. There is a panic in loving an addict. Sometimes it's a quiet panic, and other times it's as loud as a freight train. It's constant worry. Would today be a good day? Would it be a bad one? Michael used for all sorts of reasons. A bad day at work, a fight with his father, a reward for being good for several days in a row. There was never any rhyme or reason behind it. There were bad days where I was sure he would come to me and tell me he wanted to get high, but he didn't. And there were great days where I was shocked when he told me he wanted to use. I could never be sure what would trigger it. So what's it like to love an addict? It's terror. It's keeping Narcan in your house and in your car. It's seeing the man you love turn grayish blue from lack of oxygen and breathing for him to keep the oxygen flowing. It's being afraid all the time. It's worrying every time you are apart that you'll never see him alive again. It's knowing that you can try and get them help, that you can plead and beg and bargain, but that you cannot make an addict get sober. Ultimatums do not work because unless an addict is ready to get sober, they will choose the drug over the person giving them the ultimatum. It's not being able to tell anyone because telling won't make them sober. but it could make them leave, and then who would keep them safe? It's being able to separate the man from his addiction in your head and in your heart, because he is so much more than just an addict. It's choosing between loving the whole man, addiction and all, sober and high, or walking away. It's knowing deep in your soul that every day is a blessing, because with an addict, the next day is not for sure. It's also knowing that no matter how many days sober they have, that no matter how hard they try, that no matter how much you love them, that losing them to an overdose is almost a guarantee. I love Michael. I love him for who he was in the most honest way possible. I knew all the good and bad parts of him, and it changed nothing. To me, he wasn't an addict. He was just Michael. He wasn't a junkie or a loser or an asshole. He was one of the best people I have ever had the honor to know, and I miss him every single day. But even in my heartache, even in the immense pain his death has caused, even with the constant ache of missing him, I wouldn't trade one single minute, good and bad, I shared with him. If you have gotten this far, if you have read all the way to the end, I hope the next time you talk about an addict that you choose your words carefully, that you remember to separate the person who could be an asshole from their addiction. I hope you remember that the person you are calling a junkie is someone's son or daughter, that they are the love of someone's life, that they are someone's friend or brother or sister. I hope you look a little deeper and see the person for who they really are, and not just for the one thing that absolutely does not define them, because I can honestly tell you that if I were to make a list of who Michael was, heroin addict would be far, far down the list. Here are some comments that have been left on the post. I OD'd once. I was in a coma for 4 days before I woke up. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my woman getting off an hour early. I stopped breathing as she came in the door. I'm probably a prick, but I try not to be. Fuck awakening dope sick in the hospital. You know you're going to have a big bill. I wanted to get the hell out of there, so that's why I might have been a prick, but I thank people who save us from our dangerous addiction. My girl doesn't take Tylenol. She's completely clean. I now worry her, but what can I do? I had this beast before I met you. You helped me get on Suboxone for 2 years. Thanks, I got off of them. I know that makes you worry even more. I can use again if I want, but then I could not afford it, so I went to Kratom. You don't know, but it's almost as bad as heroin. It's a constant battle to stay normal, anything not to be sick. I know you'd stay with me again, take my keys, break my phone. Don't let me leave 4 days until I wasn't sick, but I can't do that. I am too weak. I don't know where I was going with this, but thanks. You're not the only one out there that has done this. I'm so sorry. I know you've probably heard that millions of times already, but I really mean it. This story is heart-touching. Most view addicts as junkies, assholes, or other stereotypes, but you view them for what they really are. I appreciate that immensely. Michael sounds like a wonderful husband, father, and person. I am 13, and I'm already on opioids, oxycodone to be exact. Not addicted, no cravings, no withdrawal when I don't take it for weeks, etc. But my biggest fear is I will. I do them because of the pain, not physical, but mental. I have depression, and to top that off, an abusive father. They just numb it, make everything go away. I'm planning on doing it less often. Good thing is, I don't have many more left, and have no way to get more once I run out. I am happy for that. It's very true. It's also waking up crying from nightmares 4 times a night because you dreamt of all the horror scenarios that could happen. My ex was one of the assholes though, and I'm glad I'm so fucking over him and never have to deal with him again. He's not dead, but metaphorically he is to me. He stole from me, manipulated me and everyone around him, fucked me up mentally, which made it hard for me to not see the addict. I took a bumpy road of healing and setting boundaries for myself. I'm glad you were here for Michael. I'm really close to someone that fell into this addiction. I had to save her life from an overdose in a 7-Eleven bathroom. I know a lot of people have cut her out of their life, but I just couldn't see myself doing that to someone I've known for years, and I've admittedly shared my first intimate experience with. The last time we talked was weeks ago on the phone. She called me asking for a ride to pick up even more stuff, despite overdosing not even 2 weeks prior. I didn't give in. I truly love this person, but gosh, addiction is such a horrible thing. I've always told her I'm here for her and that she can always be honest with me. Yeah, I've OD'd more than 20 times, ICU on ventilator twice. I can't imagine the shit my girlfriend or mother had to see. There's a reason why I am here, and this post helped me realize how lucky I am for the life I have.